Hey YouTube, Jeremy here. I am in a cheap, crappy motel. Why, you may ask? Because I'm too cheap to stay in a nicer hotel? No, well, yes. But because tomorrow is special. Tomorrow is different. Normally, I just load up the trailer and we go to the water and we fish, or, well, we fish, we may or may not catch fish, but we fish. Tomorrow, we're down on Long Island Sound, New London, Mystic, Groton area in Connecticut, and we're going to go saltwater kayaking for the first time. The weather tomorrow is not supposed to be fantastic. It's actually supposed to be kind of cloudy, possibly rainy, maybe some thunderstorms moving on in the afternoon. But anyway, it's a 2-hour drive for us, so we figured A, get up at 2:30 in the morning, not gonna happen. B, we spend some money and stay in a cheap, crappy motel. So, cheap, crappy motel it is. Alright, stay tuned. There are no ice machines here. And remember, guys, if the sign says no smoking, don't frickin' smoke! We're gonna go out and get ice now. Check out the totally awesome high-speed internet. Wow. I don't know if I can handle this. That's just way too many bits per second. The bits are just flying all over the place. Look at that. They're still flying. Look at the bits go. Not that far out. I should put my life vest on, huh? No, the wind is taking my boat away. Don't take my boat away. Oh, you stay there. Morning, YouTube. Jeremy here. This is that special spot I was talking about. This is Rocky Neck State Park in Connecticut. We just got in on the 4-mile launch, the 4-mile river launch. Interestingly enough, I don't think it's 4 miles long. Certainly not from the launch. We're gonna go over the Amtrak lines, and then we're gonna get on, hopefully. Oh, I just hit shallows bad. Put it up. I just hit shallows bad. Holy crap. I can't even get mine up all the way. It's that bad. All right. that up. Holy crap. Well, that was a first. Well, not really, but kind of. It's so shallow in here that I just got the prop stuck in the mud sideways, and I didn't have enough clearance at that point to get the propellers vertical so I can actually pull it back up into the kayak. But got it twisted around, at least for now. It's kind of sitting in there all weird and everything. I'm free. It is low tide. It's not at its lowest point yet. It's gonna get lower than this. But we at least have enough clearance to paddle out into the main bay here. And once we hit deeper water, I'll re-engage the drive. At least it's not that far of a paddle. Oh, I just spooked something in here. Oh, I think I found the channel finally. Not much of one. All right, so we got about a 10-mile-an-hour wind with some gusts coming out of the southeast. Tide is still going out, so we're kind of stuck in a weird loop here. Pretty much getting close to slack tide. This is getting deeper. This is better. And that sound is the Amtrak train. Nope, I am, oh, if the wind's dying, you can still, like, I am slowly drifting out here. So yeah, you can still feel the tides coming out. Yeah, it's deep enough in here. Just I think my rods have enough clearance. It's scary from down here, but swells are definitely picking up out here. I don't know how long we'll be able to stay out. Wow. I'm going like right out there. Why am I going right out there? Come on. Oh, hold on. Oh. So caught up in here. Sucked it right up. Well, that's an omen I don't know what is. Dad! Hey, so we made it out there, got on the water probably about 6 o'clock, and ran into a huge problem. The wind actually kicked up really badly, and we wound up hitting some decent chop. Also, the tide was still going out, and yeah, so we found a nice little pocket, fished around in there, didn't really get anything. In the meantime, I had technical problems. I can see in the camera that I have very little battery left. I should have been plugged into the external battery. It was draining that. I don't know what happened. Also, the app on my phone that I used to record my external audio crashed. I have no clue at what point it stopped recording. I'll figure out when I start putting this video together. Shortly before I realized that, I wound up drifting into the side again and didn't realize my stringer had got caught underneath the prop. I go to move, my prop ate up the stringer, and one of the bolts actually came loose, and so I'm stuck now in place. So we wound up having to paddle back the old-fashioned way. So that was this morning. Looks like the wind is actually picking up and getting worse. There's a cell coming up from the southwest. crossing Long Island now, and that's probably going to hit us directly in the next hour or so. So we got off the water just in time. Does look like tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, is actually going to be a lot nicer. So hopefully we can sort everything out. I'm probably going to get some split ring washers at Harbor Freight just to make sure this doesn't happen again with the prop. And I don't know what I'm going to do about the app. So hopefully it won't happen again. Yeah. It's raining. There's no way we're fishing in this right now. So I'm going to go inside and I'm going to retie some rigs and show you what I'm planning on using tomorrow. Hey, so fishing didn't work out this morning for a variety of reasons, one of which was I made a three-way rig. Actually, I made a high-low rig, but I didn't have any three-way swivels. So what I wound up doing, and it is impossible to detangle this, I had one long set of mono go all the way down to this 1 ounce sinker right here. Didn't cut it up in any way. Nothing separated. It was just one long unit. About a third of the way up, I slid a swivel, took the long tag end, and just kind of knotted it in place. And then I attached a probably 2-foot leader off of that. Another foot or so up that rig, I did the same thing again. Another 2-foot leader, another hook, another foot or so, and I finally came to the top swivel. This thing tangled like crazy, and it's probably because I didn't use the proper hardware. I didn't use a three-way swivel, and the whole thing just twisted on itself once you dragged it through the water a bit. So I pre-rigged half a dozen of these guys. One of them I lost on the way back to the dock. I think it went through the scupper holes. The other one, I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix this. Just because the way that this is kinked up where the knots are, I think what I'm going to wind up doing is just trash this entire rig and start from the beginning. I did bring this 20-pound mono. This is what this is using. I'm going to get rid of the high-low rig, and I'm just going to put a single swivel about halfway down and going to a single hook. Should be enough to get a fluke to bite, hopefully. I've seen underwater footage of fluke going for the top bait on a high-low rig rather than the bottom, and I assume that's only because they are ambush predators and they're going to sit in that sand waiting for something to come by. If something comes by at eye level, it doesn't necessarily mean that they see it. You get something that's, you know, about 18 inches, 24 inches off the bottom. That's about where they're going to strike. So that's where I want to put that bait. So I'm going to trash this rig, save all the hardware, of course, and make a new one. And I'll show you how I do that. Alright, now that I've removed all the hardware, set that aside, I'm going to take this mass right here, and I'm throwing it out. It's no good to me. Dead to me. There, go. You too. Now, this is all wet. I'm going to take 24 inches, a bit more. On one end, I'm going to tie on the swivel and clasp with a 1-ounce sinker. I'm just using a cinch knot here. Go around 4 times. Through the loop. Wet it. Pull it tight. If you don't moisten your knots, I don't know if everybody knows this, if you don't moisten the knots when you're pulling these things tight on mono, especially something heavy like 20-pound test, you're going to create a lot of friction. It's going to slide, dig. You're just going to weaken the line, and your knot is going to suck. And that's going to be your weak point right there. So moistening the knot allows you to pull it tight right now, kind of loosens it up, loops it up, pull it tight, dries up, you're good. And just clip the tag on that. Alright, so I got that much still. I'm going to take one of my swivels and I'm going to put it maybe about 18 inches off the bottom. Now, seeing as I don't have a 3-way swivel, again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm actually just going to make a cinch knot here, but instead of cutting the tag end, I'm going to leave it be. So around 4 times. If you're using light line, you can go more than that, but 20-pound or higher and 5 or so just winds up being a problem. So moisten this. It tastes like squid. Pull that tight. There you go. At the top, do one last one. I have a snap on my braid that I use to connect to this, just so if something breaks, I can quickly swap it over. Or if I decide I don't want to use this rig anymore, I can take it off, attach a leader, and just go tie on directly to a jig or something like that. So pull slightly less than we did before. Through, around, pull, loosen. It's nice and snug. Trim that. There we go. There's the start of it. Last piece. I've got the swivel right here in the middle. We're going to take about a good foot or so. Keep in mind that we're going to lose a little bit of this tying knots and trimming tag ends, so give yourself a little bit more than that. And the last piece is your hook. Now, with the circle octopus hooks, you see the, at least on this one, your eyelet is bent off to the side. You actually want to use that to your advantage. You don't want to come in like this, because that's just going to bend funny. You actually want to come in at the angle. Easier said than done. There we go. And tie it on like that. And that's just going to allow it to swim out straight. It'll be like that, that. If you tie it on the other way, it's actually going to angle in, and it's just going to do funny things. So don't really want that. Well, let's try that again. Don't give yourself enough of a tag end. It's going to be very hard to pull this through. And trim that a little bit. Always give yourself just a tad of a tag, not enough to stick out or anything, but if the knot does slip, retighten once you get a fish on. At least it won't pull it through. Now, when working with bigger hooks like this, I've actually seen some people use this little eyelet on the nail clippers. Hook that through, and then that just gives you something to hold onto the hook while you're tightening it. And there we go. So the idea is, braid comes down to here, that hugs along the bottom, this trails along behind, a little piece of squid. If I want to use a jig, I can use a jig, tip that with mullet, squid, anything else like that. And this is what I'm going to use tomorrow. I still have the risk of doing some kind of tangling, but at least I just have 2 lines to deal with, not a third coming from above. Alright, so hopefully that'll work.